Rain poured down hard. The dim hallway was cold and quiet, until the door flew open, and Sarah, 17 years old, was pushed out. Her duffel bag hit the ground with a thud. Her stepfather, Rick, stood in the doorway, face red with anger. "You're not my daughter," he shouted. "Go stay with whoever you were sneaking around with." Sarah stood there in shock, water soaking her clothes. Her heart pounded. She tried to speak, her voice shaking. "Please, just let me explain." But Rick slammed the door in her face. She looked up toward the window. Her mother, Diane, was standing there. She saw everything, but didn't come down. She didn't open the door. She didn't say a word. Sarah wiped her eyes quickly. Her hands trembled as she pulled out her phone. Only 4% battery left. She opened the ride app and called for a cab. The rain didn't stop. Her thin sweater clung to her skin. She sat on her duffel bag, teeth chattering, watching the street. A cab finally pulled up, headlights cutting through the darkness. She stood and opened the back door, sliding inside. It was warm inside the car. She shivered, hugging herself tightly, not even looking at the driver at first. But when she glanced up at the rearview mirror, her body froze. The man behind the wheel was the last person she expected to see. "Sarah," he said, his voice soft, full of disbelief. She stared at him, mouth slightly open. It had been years, 10 years in fact. She knew that voice, that face. It was Michael, her real father. The one who left when she was just 7. The one she hadn't seen or heard from since. She blinked, not sure if it was real. Her voice came out quiet, raw. "Why did you leave?" Michael didn't answer right away. The rain hit the windows harder now. The silence inside the car felt heavier than the storm outside. They sat there, both stunned, the past hanging in the air between them. Michael left suddenly when Sarah was only 7 years old. He didn't say goodbye. He didn't explain anything. One day he was there and the next he was gone. Sarah waited for him to come back, but he never did. She asked her mother, Diane, where he went. Diane would just say, "He left us. Forget him." A year later, Diane married Rick. First he seemed kind, but over time Sarah started to see his true nature. Rick was strict, cold, and always watching. He liked to be in control. He blamed Sarah for small things, dirty dishes, bad moods, anything. If Diane showed love to Sarah, Rick would pull her away, telling her not to spoil the girl. Sarah missed how her mom used to be, soft, loving, warm. Now Diane acted like someone else. She agreed with everything Rick said. Even when Sarah cried, Diane stayed quiet. It hurt. As Sarah got older, she became more independent. She studied hard. She dreamed of leaving one day, getting into a college far away. But Rick didn't like that. He told her college was a waste, that she should stay home and help your mother. Diane nodded. So Sarah made a secret plan. She started sneaking out to apply for colleges. She used the library computers. She even met with a school counselor without telling anyone. Then something unexpected happened. 6 months ago, Sarah found Michael by accident. She saw his name while using a search engine. Her heart raced. She wasn't sure what to feel. Anger, sadness, curiosity. But she reached out. To her surprise, he replied. They met quietly. She didn't tell anyone, not even her best friend. They met in parks, coffee shops, and sometimes he drove her home, staying a block away. He looked older, but his eyes were the same. Sarah had questions. She wanted to know why he left, but he always said, "It's a long story." Still, a part of her felt calm around him. Safe. Tonight, everything fell apart. Rick found out she had been sneaking around. He thought she was seeing a boy. Sarah could have told him the truth, but she didn't. If she told him she was meeting Michael, things could get even worse, for her, maybe even for her mom. So she stayed silent. Rick got furious. He threw her out at 2:03 a.m. Her mother watched from the upstairs window but didn't come down. Now Sarah sits in the back seat of a cab, shivering, rain dripping from her hair. She looks up and sees Michael behind the wheel. He turns slightly, eyes wide. "Sarah," he says, surprised. She can barely breathe. "I wasn't supposed to be your driver," he says quietly. Sarah looks straight at him. Her voice shakes. "Why did you leave?" Michael doesn't answer. The silence between them grows heavy. The rain hits the windows like soft drum beats. Outside, the world is dark. Inside the car, 2 people sit with years of pain between them. Fade to black. Michael drives her to his apartment. First Sarah says no. She doesn't want to go with him. She doesn't know him anymore. She doesn't trust him yet. But it's cold, and it's the middle of the night. She has no friends she can call this late. No money. No place to stay. So finally she nods. Okay, she whispers. They drive in silence. The rain taps gently on the car roof. Sarah looks out the window, still wet, her heart feeling heavier with each passing minute. When they reach the apartment building, she follows him upstairs. The apartment surprises her. It's small but clean and calm. A little couch, a simple kitchen, books on a shelf. It smells like coffee and laundry soap. He offers her a towel and something dry to wear. She changes in the bathroom, then sits on the edge of the couch, quiet. Michael sits across from her, not too close. He speaks gently. Sarah, he says, I didn't leave you because I wanted to. I didn't just walk away. She looks at him, her eyes hard. Then why? He takes a deep breath and stands up. He goes into his bedroom and returns with a folder. Inside are old court papers, printed emails, and messages. He hands it to her. I was forced to leave, he says. Your mom said I was violent. She told the court I hurt her. Sarah blinks. You didn't.
No.
I never did. But Rick was around back then. He was just a family friend. He helped her file the papers. He said he saw things he didn't. Sarah flips through the papers. Court dates. Restraining orders. Messages from Michael to Diane asking to see Sarah. Some were never opened. Her hands begin to shake. She never showed me these, she says. She said you disappeared. That you didn't care. Michael's voice breaks. I tried to fight, but every time I went to court they believed her. I didn't have money for a better lawyer. I didn't want you to grow up in courtrooms hearing ugly things. I lost once. I couldn't afford to lose you again. Sarah's world spins. Everything she believed feels like a lie. Her mother, her own mother, chose Rick, not her. She stands up, wiping tears from her face. Her voice rises. You should have tried harder. You should have fought for me. Michael stands too. His eyes are full. I did. Every way I could. Sarah turns away. She doesn't know what to say. Her heart hurts in a new way now. Michael points gently toward the hallway. The guest room is yours. You can sleep there tonight. She nods once without looking back. In the small bedroom she lies awake for hours staring at the ceiling. Everything is quiet now, but nothing feels calm. Over the next few days, Sarah starts putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Michael shows her emails, old legal papers, and messages. He explains how Diane deliberately cut off contact with him. Sarah can see it all now, the proof that her mother chose Rick over him. As Sarah reads through the documents, memories from her childhood flood her mind. She remembers times when Diane would seem scared, when she wouldn't speak up or make decisions for herself. Diane's silence was always there, a shadow in their home. The flashbacks get darker as Sarah remembers how Rick would yell at Diane, how he would criticize her, and how he treated her like she wasn't enough. Rick's emotional control over Diane was subtle but cruel. Sarah starts seeing the signs more clearly now, the same signs that she had ignored when she was younger. She decides to visit an old neighbor who used to live next door. The neighbor, an older woman, talks to Sarah like she's a grown-up now. Slowly, she mentions that Rick always seemed too close to Diane before Michael left. She doesn't say much more, but Sarah gets the hint. Rick was never just a family friend, he was something more. Sarah can't shake these thoughts. She tries calling her mom, hoping for an answer, maybe even an apology. But the phone rings and rings. There's no answer. Diane has cut her off again. Michael sees Sarah's pain. If you want to move forward with your life, you need to take control. Apply for college. But if you want to really be free, you should file for emancipation. You don't have to wait for your mother's permission anymore. Sarah is torn. She loves her mother, even if it hurts. But she can't forgive her for the lies, for choosing Rick over her own daughter. Michael offers to help her go further. I can help you get the custody records. We can prove how Rick manipulated everything to keep me away. It's your choice, Sarah. But you deserve the truth. Sarah feels trapped. Her heart aches for the mother she used to know. But the truth is too heavy. She's not sure how to move forward. Just as things start to feel impossible, the situation worsens. Rick and Diane report Sarah as a runaway. The police show up at Michael's door. They knock loudly, asking if he's seen Sarah. She feels the weight of their gaze on her. This is real now. She has to decide. Does she run away, or does she stand up? Sarah takes a deep breath. She chooses to stay. She doesn't want to hide anymore. The officers ask her what happened. Sarah tells them everything. She explains how Rick emotionally abused her mother and kept her from the truth. She talks about the years of manipulation, the lies that shaped her life. The police take notes. They can't promise anything, but they listen. The next day, Sarah files for a protective order against Rick. It's a small victory, but it's the first step. She knows she can't change everything at once, but now she has the power to protect herself. For the first time in a long time, Sarah feels like she's taking control of her own life. The courtroom is quiet as people take their seats. Sarah sits beside Michael, her hands shaking a little. Today is the hearing. Everything she's been through is leading to this moment. Then the doors open. Diane walks in with Rick right beside her. She looks different, colder, distant. Her face is blank, and she avoids Sarah's eyes. Sarah feels a deep pain in her chest. Her mother is here, but not for her. The judge enters and the hearing begins. Sarah is called to the stand. She stands slowly, heart pounding. She looks at the judge, then at her mother, and finally at Rick. She takes a breath and speaks. Rick has been emotionally abusive for years, not just to me, but to my mother too. He controls everything. What we say, what we do. If we speak up, he gets angry. He blames us for everything. She pauses, then continues. He threw me out in the middle of the night. I had nowhere to go. If I didn't call a cab, if my dad hadn't picked me up by chance, I don't know what would have happened. Rick's lawyer stands up next. He tries to make Sarah look bad. She's just a teenager. She didn't like house rules. She ran off. Now she's making up stories to get attention. Her stepfather is strict, but not abusive. Michael is then called to speak. He shows the court documents, emails, and messages he sent to Diane over the years. I didn't abandon my daughter, he says. I was blocked, lied about. I did everything I could to stay in her life. The judge listens carefully. It's a lot of back and forth. Then Sarah pulls out her phone. I have something else, she says. A recording I found on an old device. From years ago. She plays the recording. The courtroom fills with Rick's voice, loud and angry. If you ever let him near her again, I swear. The sound of something crashing. Diane's voice crying. Then silence. The courtroom goes still. Everyone is shocked. Even the judge leans forward. Diane's face changes. She looks down, tears forming in her eyes. For the first time, her mask slips. She looks at Sarah and there is pain in her eyes, real pain. During a short break, Diane follows Sarah into the hallway. She speaks in a whisper. I was scared, she says. I'm still scared. Sarah wants to hug her. She wants her mother back. But the moment is too fragile. She doesn't say anything. Back in the courtroom, Rick grows angry. He shouts at the judge, calling the hearing a joke, and accusing everyone of lying. Police officers move quickly. They tell him to sit down, but he doesn't listen. One officer steps forward and Rick is restrained. The judge finally speaks. Sarah, based on the evidence, I'm granting you a full protection order. You are no longer required to stay with your mother or stepfather. The court will support your emancipation request. Sarah exhales finally. She looks at Michael. He smiles gently, proud. Diane stays in her seat, silent, caught between her past and the life she chose with Rick. Sarah walks out of the courtroom with her head held high. For the first time in her life, she feels free. Sarah starts working part-time at a small bookstore. It's quiet there, and the people are kind. She also finishes her senior year online. It's not easy balancing work and school, but she's focused now. She has a goal. She's free. She lives with Michael now. At first, it's a little awkward. They don't always know what to say to each other. There's a lot of silence. But slowly, day by day, things get better. They talk more. They laugh sometimes. It's not perfect, but it's real. One morning, she checks her email and gasps. She's been accepted to NYU, with a full scholarship for students who faced hardship. Her hands shake as she reads the letter again and again. She smiles for real this time. After everything she's been through, this moment feels like a dream. Later that night, she thinks about her mom. She misses her. Even after everything, that love is still there, somewhere deep inside. She sits down and writes a letter. She writes about the pain, the lies, the truth, and how much she had wanted her mom to stand up for her. But when she finishes, she folds the letter and puts it in a drawer. She doesn't send it. 1 week before she leaves for New York, Sarah visits the old house one last time. She stands outside the familiar front door. The garden looks a little dry. The curtains are closed. She knocks softly. The door opens. Diane stands there. She looks tired. Older. But softer too. She's alone. Rick is gone. They stare at each other for a moment. Neither speaks. Sarah reaches into her bag and pulls out a folded paper. It's a copy of the court transcript, the hearing where the truth was finally spoken out loud. She hands it to her mother. Her voice is calm. I thought you should know what the truth sounds like. Diane takes the paper with shaking hands. She opens her mouth like she wants to speak, but nothing comes out. Sarah doesn't wait. She turns and walks away. In New York City, Sarah steps off the bus. The noise, the lights, the people. It's all so big, so new. She stands still for a moment, holding her backpack, just looking around. She turns her head and glances back once, as if saying goodbye to everything behind her, her old life, her pain, her past. Then she takes a deep breath and looks forward. Her phone buzzes. It's a call from Michael. She answers. Hey, she says softly. Michael's voice comes through, warm and proud. I'm proud of you, kid. She smiles. Not because everything is perfect. Not because life is suddenly easy. But because she made it. She chose her own path. Later, in her small dorm room, Sarah unpacks her things. She finds an old photo. The one of her as a little girl, smiling in the sun. She pins it on the wall above her desk. Then she writes a small note and tapes it below the picture. It says, "You deserved better. I'm giving it to you now." She sits on the bed, looks around, and smiles again. The future is waiting. Fade out. Hey besties. Sparkling heart, thank you so much for watching till the end. You're amazing. Don't forget to like, drop a comment, and hit that subscribe button for more stories like this. Love you, bye. Waving hand sparkles.